Alright, today guys, I'm going to be teaching you how to make this awesome, very good quality tomahawk. It took about a full day to make in total. It's equipped with a paracord handle, as you can see. But anyway, let's get straight into it. Okay, the first step in creating your tomahawk is to get the template you're going to use. So I made this one on Adobe Illustrator, but you can draw yours, or you can even get a picture from the internet and use that. But once I had printed out the design, I realized that the piece of metal was actually too small for me to fit the whole thing on. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to make the head of it out of this thicker, better quality piece of metal, and then make a handle out of the other piece of metal and just weld it on. If you have a bigger piece of metal, you can just make the whole thing out of it instead of welding. Okay, so first of all, I'm going to find out where I should cut it so it can fit. So cut it about there. That looks good. Now trace it out with a Sharpie. Okay, now that we've traced out our design, we're going to use the angle grinder with the cutoff wheel, and we're going to cut this out, and yeah, let's do that. Okay, now that we've cut out the rough shape of the tomahawk, we're going to go over to the bench grinder and we'll clean up some of this stuff. Let's go do that. Grounded to shape, so now we can start working on the handle. We're going to use this other piece of metal. It's really soft steel, easy to cut. Anyway, we're going to trace out our handle onto this here and we'll cut it out. And now that you've finished up the handle, grounded to shape, and you've finished the head of the tomahawk, we're going to do the bevels on the tomahawk, so we'll mark those out now. Then we'll go ahead and use the hard disc on the angle grinder and we'll make those bevels. Now that you've marked out where you're going to bevel the steel, you want to take a drill bit that's the same diameter as the thickness of the steel. We'll use this to scribe a line on the edge of the steel. So what you do, get a flat surface, do that, flip it over. Okay, now that you've scribed the lines into the steel, we're going to grab the angle grinder with the hard disc and we're going to use that to bevel the steel, and yeah, we'll do that now.
This is a Chuki beat production.
Okay, it's looking pretty good, as you can see. But now we're gonna go get the other angle grinder with the sanding disc. You can also use a flat disc, and we're gonna polish it up, make it look good before we heat treat it. Okay, as you can see, we've really polished it up. Looks great. Now I'm gonna wait till tomorrow, and tomorrow we're gonna heat treat it. It's a bit late to do it now, but yeah, see you guys tomorrow. What I'm using for heat treating is my pizza oven. I've got it warming up now, just waiting until it's really hot so I can heat up the head of the Tomahawk to a critical temperature. But you can use anything. You can make your own little forge, or you could use a professional one. It's gonna wait for this to heat up. I've let it warm up for like about half an hour. It's over 400 degrees in the hot spots. Yeah, so I think it's hot enough for the heat of the hexagon there, so I'll put it in. And I'm gonna put it in the hottest spot, right in the middle. And that will get really hot. That there is the other end of the Tomahawk, so it's sitting in there. I'll leave it in there for about an hour. An hour will probably do it. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take the Tomahawk out of the oven, and then I'm gonna test it with the magnet and see if the magnet can still be attracted to the metal. And if it can, it's not hot enough. But if it can't, then it's hot enough. Then I'll quench it in water. I should really do it in oil, but I don't have any oil, so I'm just gonna have to use water. But yeah, that's what I'm gonna do now. And it can still be attracted to it, so it's not quite hot enough. Gonna leave it in there for a little bit longer. Okay, I'm gonna speed it up a little bit, make it a little bit hotter by getting the hair dryer and just blowing some air in there, getting some oxygen in there, and hopefully get it hot enough so the magnet can't be attracted to it. Just by blowing some air. You can really see how hot it gets. So I'm just gonna do this for a while. Hopefully it should get hot enough. I definitely think it's hot enough now. Let's have a look. Yeah, it's definitely hot enough. I'm gonna quench it in the water now. Now to test that you've actually hardened it, I'm gonna grab a file and scrape it like this. And if it just glides off like that, that means it's been properly hardened. But if it just digs in like that, then you haven't hardened it properly. But this bit here doesn't matter. All that matters is this area over here, this area over here. Just glides straight off. So it's been properly hardened. Now at the moment, if I dropped it, it would probably shatter because it's so hard. So what we have to do is we have to temper it. That will make sure it's a little bit softer so it won't break. And yeah, let's do that now. Okay, so I've cleaned it up with some sanding blocks. It's looking really good. Now we're going to temper it in the pizza oven. It's sitting at about 382 degrees, which is a little bit too hot, but that's alright. So I'll show you what to do. Now just remember, you can use the oven that you have inside. I'm not going to use that because it uses too much power, so I'm just going to use the pizza oven. It gets hot enough for sure. What you want to do is you want to place it in like so, and now you want to wait until it turns into a golden straw colour, kind of like this actually. You want it to be about that colour there. That's the perfect colour. We'll close it up and make sure you keep an eye on it. You don't want it to overheat. Okay, so it's been about 15 minutes in the oven and it looks like the right colour. See, that's perfect. Okay, so it was in the oven for about 15 minutes at 480 degrees. Now it's at about 100 degrees, so I wouldn't touch it. You don't want to cool it down in water, you just want to let it cool down by itself, otherwise you'll mess up the tempering. So yeah, I'm just going to let this cool down, and then we're probably going to weld on the handle. Okay, now what I've done is I've sharpened the edges with angle grinder with the sanding discs, and I made sure that I didn't overheat it because that would ruin the tempering process. And yeah, so what we're going to do now is we're going to weld on the handle, and if you made yours out of a full piece of metal, you don't have to weld the handle on, then you're basically done. You can wrap the handle in paracord or put a wooden handle on it, whatever you want. But now we're just going to weld on the handle. Okay, so I've clamped everything down, getting ready to weld. I'll be using an arc welder, which is the one with the electrodes. I haven't welded in a while, so don't judge me on my welding, but yeah, let's do it. And don't forget to wear all the safety equipment such as your mask, your helmet and gloves. Looks like a pretty good weld. Now we'll do the other side. So yeah, there's one weld, there's the other. They're not perfect, but they'll definitely hold. I would normally grind them down, but if I grind them down, I'm not sure how strong they'll be. So I'm just going to leave them. Doesn't look too bad like that. But now we're pretty much done. We're probably going to put a paracord wrap on it. Yeah, sweet as. There you go, you made your very own tomahawk. I had fun making this, hope you did too. It was a bit challenging at times, but we got there. If you enjoyed today's video, comment down below what you want me to make next, and I'll see you in the next one. Later.